listeners and viewers. Delighted to have you in this Need Indeed's Voices and Vibes podcast. Before we begin, I'll just do a quick intro into what Need Indeed does. We are a 501c3 local nonprofit registered in the state of Minnesota, and we serve the community in the areas of mental well-being through our various projects, be it with the seniors who are substance abuse survivors, or seniors in memory care, or women's support group, and many more. So you are welcome to check us out on our website at TheNeedInDeed.org. It's all volunteer-run organization. In fact, this podcast that needs about 10, 12 volunteers is also all volunteer run operation as well. So with that, I dive into Voices and Vibes. And why is it that we are doing this Voices and Vibes podcast? Well, it's quite interesting that I was at one of the get-togethers for the Need Indeed, and we had a full agenda of what we needed to talk. And there was one person who wanted to say a little bit more than the agenda allowed. And I was thinking, boy, even if in our own The Need Indeed event, we don't have the time to get to know people. You know, there are some people I have met for 10 years, 15 years, but never really realized their story. And I personally believe that each one of us is a story or story in the making. And all stories have elements of overcoming challenges, exploring, finding ourselves, which can be mental well-being related and inspiring and comforting and supporting. So I thought, why don't I just start a casual way of getting to know my neighbor and sharing the community treasures with all of you, the listeners and the viewers. So that brings me to today's podcast. I have with me a local celebrity, an artist. Before an artist, she had a previous life, if I could say that. I'd like to welcome Sanjukta Mitra.
Thank you so much, Sushmi ji. Thank you for having me on the show.
Welcome.
This is an amazing platform, and thank you for finding me worthy enough to be a part of this show.
Oh, no. You know, I'm a secret admirer of you. And for the viewers, I guess I should disclose that my wallpaper on my phone is an art piece by Sanjukta.
Pleasure is all mine.
All right. What shall we talk about? Before we dive into formal conversation or formally informal conversation, I give you a chance and request you to do your introduction, please.
Yeah, so I'm Sanjukta. I'm a professional artist. I think I can call myself that now.
Of course, yes.
Over the last 5 years, I think I have been a prolific painter. I paint every single day. And as you mentioned, you know, I had a previous life. I worked as a data science consultant. I made that switch. And today, I just get up every morning. I get to spend my day in front of my easel. So I, with a lot of gratitude, and I feel really, really blessed to be able to do that. I'm a mother of two. So it's a busy life, but I'm getting to do what I think is supposed to be my purpose. So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, welcome again.
Thank you.
So in the next 30, 40 minutes, whatever we share, I think I'm going to start off with what you shared off camera, an advice that your brother shared with you.
Yeah.
And I've already used that word 2 times, which is...
Yeah, so, taken a couple of interviews in the past, and every time, so my brother is somebody that I always reach out to, and he's my best critique, my brother and my husband.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, tell me, what do I need to work on? So this is my interview, because he's always going to tell me the truth. So he's like, you were talking very well, but I think you were talking, you were not sharing.
Yeah.
So that just totally changed my perspective, right?
Yes.
It was about, it again, kind of reminds you it's not about you. It's about sharing. It's about the other person. It's about the other side of the circle, right? So it's about sharing again. So sharing my own journey will probably help somebody see themselves as one of the characters in that journey. And hopefully, something that I was able to do in my life will inspire others who are probably still holding on to their dreams to be able to sort of pursue it. So,
very nice.
Yeah.
So we invoke that sharing here in this space, and with that we will have rest of our conversation. So my first question, take us back to the beginning, where you recollect being exposed to art, formally or not. What was your exposure? It could be childhood or when high school or college, wherever you'd like to begin the story.
Yeah, I think as far as I can remember, right? I was born and brought up in India, in a very typical South Asian middle class family where academics is really the highest priority. And then everything else, all your extracurriculars are your hobbies, your feel goods, right? So I grew up in a family like that. But I feel like art was always at the core of my identity. Everybody knew that, okay, Sanjukta could sing and could dance. Painting was something very, very private to me, I would say. I learned Kathak for about close to 10 years, started at the age of 2, learned Hindustani classical music for about 5 years. And all of these things I would do on the stage. I would perform. I think visual art, painting, creating art is the only thing that I did not perform, right? So it was for my own space. It was something that I loved expressing myself with, and nobody to judge, and nobody to give me a score on how I have created my art. So I think growing up, art was always around me, and somewhere at the back of my mind, I actually always wanted to be a playback singer. But then how life happens, how education kind of takes the center stage, and all of these sort of go into the back burner. So I think that's what happened with me as well. I pursued a career in data science.
Okay.
And then art became something that I decided I will retire into.
Okay.
Right. So that's pretty much the background.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the data scientist piece, meaning what was your formal education?
Yeah, so I did mathematics honors from Delhi University, and then I did my MBA in brand management.
Okay.
So I worked as a data science consultant almost close to about 15 years.
Wow, that's a good long time.
Yes, I spent into data modeling and all of those fancy words.
Yeah.
But I think in the talking about the pure essence, I think it was all about problem solving.
Yeah.
And when I reflect back today, sorry, probably I'm jumping the gun here, but I'm just trying to stitch the story here. If I reflect back, I feel even today on my easel, I am problem solving.
Yeah.
So it's not that everything that I did, in my life have been put aside and this is a completely new birth. No, it's a derivation of what I have learned and what I've been exposed to.
Yeah. We'll come back to this a little further down. So you did your undergrad and grad that led you to have a corporate job in data science. And of course, you liked what you were doing for 15 years. You kind of grew into it and became proficient in it. And then what happened?
Life happened, the real life. I think that just hits a nerve within me somewhere. So, I feel like everybody is born with a purpose, whether you know it, whether you don't know it, it's somewhere hidden in your system. And sometimes you realize it soon enough in your life, and sometimes it takes something else to trigger that.
Yeah.
And I very strongly believe that sometimes you need to walk through a trauma, right, to realize what you're truly born for. And I've really introspected. I reflect a lot on my own thoughts, and I think I'm my biggest critique. So what I feel is that when you are exposed to a trauma, it actually takes you to the deepest level of your emotion, deepest layer, in your inner world. And when you have access to that deepest layer of emotions, that's the space where you hear yourself really well. It's almost like you're approaching a temple, right? An analogy. I'm just thinking off the cuff here, but you're approaching a temple and you can hear the bells ring, faint, faint, faint. And as you go closer and while you're in the temple, you can hear it the loudest.
Right.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
So I feel like in my case, I think the trauma that I experienced was an untimely passing away of my dad. Wasn't ready for it and I was really close to him. But it's not that it happened and I wanted to paint. No, I mean, I needed to let it out. I needed to express my emotions, and art became the medium for me. So I think most people who know me, they know about this story that, becoming an artist was again something that I had planned for retirement.
Yeah.
Not at an age where people typically look for stability in their life, right? Where you have two girls, like, a teenager, a 9-year-old. You've just bought a home. You don't think about quitting
There are financial responsibilities.
There are financial responsibilities and you have earned it. And you know how the growth is, right? At one point it becomes exponential. Right. In the beginning it's all linear, and now I'm at this juncture where everything for me needs to be doubled down in a corporate space. And something switches, in me. I completely switch to saying that I think I need to take a chance with my life. Yeah. Everything that I've achieved, everything that I've learned, I'm going to put it aside. Yeah. And can I do this to myself? Because this is a calling so strong, so powerful that there is no way I can contain within myself. I'm going to burn inside if I do that. So I think that was the moment I decided that I will just pick up my paintbrush. It was a process. It was very slow. And I still remember my daughter and I were sitting and we were just working on our homework. And she had these broken crayons. You can imagine back then she was about, I think, 6 years old. So broken crayons here and there, a couple of colors. And while I was working, something, just kind of awakened in me, perhaps. Yeah. And I just took one of her papers. It's still there with me. Behind that paper, there's some math problems solved. Yeah. And I'm like, and I just started drawing my dad, like just a very, very rough portrait of him with broken crayons. And I was working, nothing to be erased, none of all that. I think at one point I was not even aware that I was drawing him. And it took me about 2 hours. But when I put my pen down, I remember feeling that I truly, truly, truly felt that, they say, right, when somebody passes away, they say that they've not gone anywhere, they are there around you and stuff like that. Yeah. I felt he's not around me. He is me. Like I am him. Like every cell of my body is him. See, saying this in theory is something. Yeah. People have been saying that to me. But feeling it in every ounce of your blood is something totally different. Yeah. And that's when I was like, well, art can just not be decorative. Yeah. It has a purpose, just like good music has a purpose. It touches you at the right place and it makes you a better person. So I was like, okay, art can heal me. If art can heal me, it can heal others. Maybe this is how I can give back. So now it's not about me. It's not about the portrait I'm painting. It's about the consumer. What difference can a painting make to the person if it reaches the right person? So what I started doing was, without letting my friends know, if they had their parents pass away, I started painting their portraits and I started gifting it to them. I would just show up like, hey, I want to meet you. And that became my way of giving back. And that was the genesis, really. But it changed the meaning of art for me completely. Like prior to that, I would paint. I've painted all my life. But I think it lacked life. It lacked emotion. But this is now here, after this episode, of drawing my dad's portrait, it completely changed the meaning of art for me. So, yeah.
So that was basically the turning point. But having a 2-hour session drawing, definitely you described it well, and I can relate to some of my own experiences where it can, something like this can be healing. What moved along, what inched along where it kind of compelled you to be decisive that it was something more than just healing?
Yeah, I think
Because you had invested what, 6, 8 years in studying in your mathematics, undergrad, grad, all that, marketing and mathematics.
Yeah.
So you had some investment there, and then you had 15 years of corporate life, and I think you alluded to it that 15 years is just about the right time where it's for your time to cut the crop and start reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
Because you have already paid in your dues.
Yeah.
So to make the switch at the high of when it's time for you to gather the fruits, you draw courage to plant a new crop field. If we can stick with that visual.
And honestly, if you take me back, like I think 2020 was the year. Nobody thought I was courageous. I didn't think of, being courageous at that moment at all. Everybody thought I was being crazy. I was being mad.
Including you yourself.
Including myself. I'm like, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
Is this really what I need to get into? Is this I think except for my husband and my brother, everybody else were like, no, you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't say it, I knew they were saying it, because that's the most logical response to it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it takes a little bit of madness, right?
And COVID provided that perfect environment.
Absolutely.
Everything was upside down.
Everything was upside down. The only way to go was the inward way.
Yeah.
So I think it absolutely, I think COVID made a difference to many people, many artists who were kind of, if I could use the word, stuck in that quagmire of the corporate life, decided to probably, just take a chance.
Or for that matter, anyone who was wanting to explore something different, now got the space or freedom to do so. And so you took that opportunity.
I took that opportunity, and it took me a year to decide that, okay, this is what I'm going after. This is what I'm going to pursue professionally, right? But in the beginning, I still remember I would forget eating lunch. My husband would keep calling me that, it's time to give meals to our kids. Kids are all over. My husband is all over. Oh my God, it was absolute madness. But what I, even today, sometimes when I lack motivation, I remind myself of what is that I went through in 2020. Like I said, maybe, I referred to this in the beginning as well. It is there, very much there. It's just hidden, and when it's the right time for it to come out, it is such an urgent force. There is no way you can contain it. It will consume you if you do that. So
that's how you know that this is it for me.
This is it for me. But again, on the other side, I think it's my background as well that keeps me pragmatic. So I tell people I'm probably bipolar. Right. I have this artist side of me that does not understand math, that does not understand logic, that does not understand money. That is what I am when I'm painting. The world ceases to exist. I never paint thinking this will sell. Right? And that's why I should be painting this. I paint because the painting has to come out. The art demands to be created. Right? It's not Sanjukta deciding this is what I'm going to paint. But on the other side, I also wear an entrepreneur's hat, a hat as well, and a business hat, because the only way I can sustain this artist's life is if I make it, financially viable.
Right.
That is the pragmatic side. And it is very difficult to balance it, really, really difficult. So I try to keep a Friday for myself, trying to just figure out how do I market myself. Because as an artist, just by the virtue of being an artist, you are a private person.
Right.
You would any day prefer your solitude, your isolation in a basement, just nobody watching you and you painting for yourself. Right. So marketing is almost like, oh my God, foreign, and it almost feels like showing off. Anytime I'm doing
Let
one of those.
others do that for me, not me for myself.
It does not feel comfortable.
You mentioned something, the two sides, the logical and the creative. I was going to ask that how did you make this shift from the data, which is the logic, all about quantity, to art, which is anything but that. But you already answered that, so we'll move on. So all right, so you decided to do this full time. Maybe now you're in 2021 or something. is it fair to assume that it's not all that easy when you made that decision, or was it you were just in it and you were rolling and
No,
things were happening?
not at all. Too many failures.
Yeah.
I don't think the world got to see it, but I saw it. I see it even today when
Yeah.
I'm working on my easel.
Yeah.
Right? Because here I am, no formal training in visual art,
Okay.
right? So just imagine the audacity and the craziness.
Yeah.
At the age of what? 37, 38, I
Yeah.
want to say, I decide that I want to become an artist.
Yeah.
An industry I don't understand at all.
Yeah.
In terms of, honing the skill, I don't understand at all.
Yeah.
What do I have? Just a burning desire and the passion.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. And commitment to get.
And commitment, right? Absolutely, absolutely. So that's what I got started with. And I'll just go back to that question of math because I want to just talk about, see, in the end of the day, the canvas is not different from who you are. The canvas is a reflection of what I am, what my inner world is. And my inner world is full of chaos.
Yeah.
And you will always see that chaos on the canvas, which in my mind is a problem that I'm trying to solve.
Okay.
So every time I start a canvas, I actually start with a lot of noise, with a lot of chaos, with a lot of colors. And then slowly, I cull the clarity out, That's what life is in general for me too. So that's how I look at it, as like problem solving, and that whole right brain and left brain acting together to bring a message out.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I worked in corporate life for quite some time, and when I started my career, I don't know, 30 plus years ago, I worked for a little while as a business analyst. And so in that profession, it's exactly that. Everybody's giving you requirements. It's all chaos.
Yes.
But when the software comes out, that's clarity.
Right.
So
Absolutely. So as a viewer, when you're looking at my painting, you're like, wow, how did you even think of this at the first place? I did not think of it at the first place.
Yeah.
I followed the cues that the canvas gave me.
And let the art lead
And
me.
let the art lead me. Absolutely. You said it right. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So we want to go further with you on this, may I say, journey or train of the art, and now start experiencing it. So what you definitely at least knew where to buy the art supplies. You knew that you're going to give it a try in your basement, so you had a space. What else? What were the challenges initially?
Initial challenges, of course, I was battling against myself, right? Am I doing the right thing, right? Okay, I make a painting.
Yeah.
What about that? What is going to happen to that painting?
Yeah.
How do I earn a living out of a painting? But, I think when you follow your dharma, when you follow what you're meant to follow, what you come to this world for, I think doors open up.
And you get guidance.
You get guidance. You get the right signs.
Yeah.
And I truly feel that's what happened with me.
So you painted your X number of pieces of art. Tell us what that X was before you were able to share it and got an audience and felt like what established in your heart and in the external world that now I can call myself an artist. What was that, may I say, another turning point?
Yeah. When I started off, just kind of going a little bit behind, right?
Yeah.
When I started, I had no roadmap. Absolutely no roadmap, no big ambitions, nothing. For me, just being able to paint was good enough.
Yeah.
And then I think I come from a background where my parents have a school. So I've grown up in a background, in a setup where people are being taught, there are students, there are teachers, all of that. So I always enjoyed mentoring. I always enjoyed teaching and sharing. And I said, okay, I'm going to teach little kids. And then, in fact, even for that, a friend of mine, so I posted some of my paintings on Facebook, and then a friend of mine called up. This is during COVID. And this friend is like, why don't you teach? I'm like, I don't know myself. I'm just doing things intuitively. So how can I teach? Like, no, I think you're doing great. Just teach. Like, okay, fine. So I had 3 or 4 kids. I started off with that. Again, no big game plan, no Excel sheet saying, okay, end of the year, I'll have 100 students. Nothing like that.
Just organically growing.
Organically, absolutely. So I had 3 kids. And I loved teaching them. And this is what happens. I think my math background really helped me. In my mind, I know artists always say that you cannot program painting. But I I wanted to be able to share a format. I wanted to be able to share a workflow with my students. So I was like, okay, if I have to make a workflow, I need to sit down and understand this for myself. I need to deconstruct it and come up with, building blocks that I can pass on to people, and they can take it and they can start
Reverse
painting.
Engineer it to
Reverse,
engineer.
absolutely. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, amidst these little kids, I had an adult show up for my classes. I'm like, wow, I'm not ready for this as yet.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. So little by little, probably started with three students, and I remember calling up my mom that I put out an ad. I don't know how many students are gonna turn up, and she's like, just do your bit.
Yeah.
And then slowly reached a mark of 100 students.
Wow. How many now?
About 100. Yes, I think that I have maxed it now.
Wow.
So now my students are teaching other students.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So this took what, 10, 13, 12 years?
No, 5 years.
5 years.
5 years, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And in
phenomenal.
those 5 years, about 4 years of teaching, right?
Yeah.
The first year was like just meditating, I believe.
Yeah.
On my easel. But I feel off late I was invited to live paint at State Fair, Minnesota here. And that was one of my best experiences in my entire artist, journey.
I haven't researched, but I would like to say, were you the first Indian to get invited?
I think probably at least the first Asian, maybe. Yes.
Yeah.
Indian. Yeah. I think so.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never.
A precious feather in the cap.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I was thoroughly challenged. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
As artists, what we hate the most is when you get comfortable.
Yeah.
I tell my students, they would come to me and like, oh, we are struggling with the color here. We're struggling with the shades. I'm like, it's a good thing that you're struggling with something. You have to be struggling with something for you to be able to grow. So I was like, okay, I think I'm, doing okay with my series. I had a show in India. I was feeling great, but I came back to the US not feeling challenged enough. I'm like, okay, what now? What is that I'm going to paint now? So I was thrown into the State Fair live painting demo for 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the 13 days that they have.
Yeah.
And I was super nervous. I kept telling my husband, I think I've forgotten to paint portraits.
Yeah.
He was like, you'll be just fine. But I think that day when I stood in front of a rolling crowd of perhaps 25,000 people, I mean, that's the number of visitors we typically have, I was in a way put to test.
Yeah.
Okay, time for you to earn it.
Yeah.
And I was nervous, but I loved every bit of it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, today, if I have worked hard, if I have meditated enough,
Yeah.
it will happen.
Yeah.
And once you pick up the paintbrush as an artist and you work on your painting, everything, ceases to exist. It's just oblivious. So I feel like I feel very, very blessed to have that opportunity.
That's a special opportunity.
Yeah, so that's also another turning point, I feel.
So digging a little bit into that, 12 hours you mentioned, so that means that clearly there were some X number of audience that saw the chaos that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then obviously those who came towards the end got to see the clarity, as I was paraphrasing it.
Right.
So it was work in progress.
Yeah.
It must have been difficult to pick a theme, decide, how to go about it. And did your cultural influences play in, or how did you decide?
Absolutely. I mean, and I reached out to people. I reached out to people who mean the best for me, who are very, very knowledgeable, to understand what is the right thing to paint. Because my first response to an opportunity like this was, I need to paint something which is more inclusive, which the Minnesotans can, relate to. And I actually started thinking of doing something very, very culturally rooted in Minnesota. But I was not, that's not, I mean, I've been here for 10 years. I relate to this place, but that's not what my inner self is. My authentic self, where I come from, is is something obviously Indian, right? And I was like, I have been given this platform, I have been given this opportunity because of the kind of paintings I do. So let me put that forward. And I had people who really encouraged me. It's like, you should just go and paint your voice out. So I actually picked up a theme, which is like the extreme of a spectrum. I reached out to an Odissi dancer in Kolkata and told her, I remember telling her that, look, I'm thoroughly inspired. Every time I see you dance, I feel like I want to paint you.
Yeah.
And I need to be going for about 12 hours straight, which means you need to be really, really inspired.
Yeah.
You can't just pick up any subject and just keep painting for 12 hours. You can't do that. You have to be truly inspired to be able to do that. So I requested her to share some pictures, and then I picked up something that was like a dark-skinned girl, lots of jewelries and ornaments, something that culturally sort of represent India when you think of India.
Yeah.
So I just went with that. And to my surprise, people really, were warm. They kind of warmed up to the painting. While I was painting, people came by and they acknowledged that I was doing something great. I mean, and they really liked it. It was all praises. Yeah.
Beautiful. And
thank you.
Wonderful that you shared. While you were talking about this, you also mentioned that you had just come from India and you were thinking that, what next for me? What's my growth opportunity? So that leads me to conclude that maybe some plateauing happened there or some recognition happened there, that you were like, okay, I'm done with this milestone, and what next? Did something like that happen?
Yeah, and I'm still going through that phase right now.
So
it was just last night. I was like, you know what, Sunay, my husband, right? I was just sharing this with him last night, that everything that I was interested in painting before I went for my India show does not feel challenging enough for me right now. I'm not like, so when you say you're inspired to paint something, inspiration is a function of a lot of different things, right? Inspiration is a function of, one, I think I can do it.
Yeah.
I may not be able to do it. Yeah. This is tough, but probably achievable. Something is all these variables put together. And in my mind, I am seeking spirituality through art, right? That's how I look at art. Art is a medium for me to seek spirituality. So I'm like, now what? Now what do I paint that I have not seen myself? So I'm still seeking. I think I'm going to be an eternal seeker, if you will, and hopefully it'll come to me. But
keep sorting through that chaos that you described.
Yes, absolutely. Bigger chaos.
Bigger chaos.
The problems become,
I also read on one of the social media that you were covered in a publication there. That was an honor as well. Which one?
This is Indian Express. They have an entertainment.
And you had a solo exhibit there?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. This was my first debut solo show in India.
Okay.
Done a couple of shows here in the US. I felt like I was an audience there. Yeah. I don't think I was the artist there, because there was so much to learn there.
Yeah.
I had these paintings of Shiva and Shakti and Ardhanarishwar and Buddha and Greek mythology, all of that. The essence being, again, connectedness and spirituality.
Yeah.
So when I painted them, I had some sort of a story that I was trying to tell.
Yeah.
But when I had people walk in, people cried, people came and shared what they took away from the painting. And oh my goodness, I was probably just thinking like maybe just 1% of what people had to add.
One lens. And then you discovered there were like thousands of
lenses. And I was like, wow, it is really all about it. Again, sort of, reinforce that belief that I am just an agent.
Yeah.
I am just doing it because the art needs to be created. The viewer actually has the story.
Yeah. Perhaps that's why this age-old beauty lies in the eye of the beholder.
Absolutely.
That's what they make of it.
Yeah.
So, Sanjukta, you mentioned that you let the art speak to you, let the art come through and lead you. I have a question. Is there a name to the art form you do? And is there a method to this madness, if I may say, that you paint? How do you go about it? Or if you have an example of an experience you'd like to share, how you approached it, or you started off with something and then it became something?
Yeah, I'm an expressionistic style painter, and I like to infuse realism into it, just so that it's a language that common people can understand. Because end of the day, like I said, I am the agent, so I have to deliver something that people like me, common people like who are not artists, also understand that, right? So I think I just show up on my easel every single day, just like how I would show up for my meetings when I was in the corporate space. My kids go to school, I run down to my basement and I start painting. I do have an abstract thought, an abstract visual that I'm going after. It's a mixed bag. Sometimes I have an idea board, sometimes I would have requested a few friends of mine to sort of pose, and I would take some pictures, just so that it gets me started, right? And like I said, there's a lot of chaos, so I start with a lot of high energy splashes and colors, and very, very intuitive, sort of a driven process on my canvas. And then slowly I start slowing down, and I start really looking and seeking for the actual message. And what comes to my mind, my top of mind, is really a painting that I did last year for the Bengali Association of Minnesota here. It went on their cover page, and something very unfortunate had happened in India, right, in Kolkata. We all know about it. It's called the RG Kar case, and we all wanted to sort of mourn in our own ways and show that show our empathy, right? So it had to go up on the cover page. Now, when I first thought of that situation, the visual that came to my mind was really this really wretched condition of women, right? Blood and sweat, and a very, very sort of a tragic sort of a visual, right? That was my first response. And then I just sat down. I'm like, okay, that's my first response, but I need to go deeper, right? And again, the background that I come from, my problem solving background, always pushes me towards creating something that's solution oriented, even on a canvas. I was like, okay, if that's the problem that the women are facing today, how can my painting become a solution? How can my painting become an answer to people feeling that way? So I started off again with a lot of splashes and all of that, and literally like red color, kind of in my mind, it's almost it stood for the blood, right? And then as I started painting, I realized that what I want to paint is that, hey, each and every year we welcome Ma Durga. And when we do that, we think of Ma Durga as an outside force, outside of us, right? And we invite her and we tell her, we ask her to come and kind of conquer and, oops, sorry. Okay. So each and every year we invite Ma Durga, right? And when we invite Ma Durga, there's this assumption that she's an outside force. And what I thought in this painting I could perhaps do is like, we help women awaken the Durga within. Yes. Right? So there's this really powerful painting that I created, wherein the Durga is there. She's an imaginary figure, but I'm also showing a human figure. She's actually a friend of mine, a human figure where you see she has that Shiva's colors on her forehead. She has a damru in her hand, and her expressions will give it away. Her expressions are all about how she's letting the Durga within her awaken. And it's time that we let the Durga rise in us, almost like a volcano, and kind of that collective force, when it comes together, will be the answer to all these exploitations that's happening in the world. So that's
a very good concluding piece of conversation. But for the viewer who may not know, so Durga is one of the revered religious deities in the Hindu religion. And as a matter of fact, the 9 days are dedicated 2 times a year to her, and we are going through those 9 days right now. So it's interesting we talk about that. And also I'd like to circle back from where we began the conversation. So very early on, you talked about that healing experience that you got when you had done your painting with your dad, right? Of your dad. And so maybe another way of saying this solution approach that you alluded to a few times is basically there's the chaos in the mind of the hurt or the loss or the whatever, and then the solution is this healing that comes out of it, which in your case you have achieved through painting. And so for the listener, for the viewer, for some, it could be composing a piece of music or dance, or the example I was giving of the software, designing a software, designing a model, that's a creative field as well, to come up with that model. Anytime we create something that is didn't exist before, that is solution, and that is healing. And in your case, of course, what a magnificent journey. So we come to a close, and in closing, I'd like to ask you if there's a message or anything you'd like to say to our listener and viewer from all of this.
Yeah, I think I'm a nobody here, right? I just really feel that all of us are absolutely universally connected, right? So there is this energy within us, there is this calling, there is this purpose within us. But sometimes we really look at it through the lens of a lot of pragmatism, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of questioning. I would say dive in and make it work. So I did not give myself a choice. Will it work or not? At one point I said, okay, this is the decision I'm taking, and I will do whatever it takes to make it work, whatever it takes, which means being bipolar as well, wearing those two hats. But we are all special in our own ways, and it's all about just realizing that and putting it into action. So yeah.
Own the space.
Own the space and speak your truth for yourself, So
wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a delight to have you.
Thank you.
Voices and